Funerals actually take a lot more planning than I expected. With us using Island Cuisine for the first time, of course we were iffy, but once they came and showed us their service, their food, tasted their food and everything, we definitely use them again because their service and food is just awesome.
I'll ride with the horses, I'll swim through the sea, I'll climb to the mountain tops, won't you come follow me? I'll take time to notice all that I see, and after I've come so far, you know where I'll be. I'll fly away, fly away, fly away, fly away home. I'll fly away, fly away, fly away, fly away home. But life is a vision, that's how it should be. The world is a canvas, and the choices are free. At the end of the journey, where all is complete, they'll all wonder where I've gone, but you know where I'll be. I'll fly away, fly away, fly away, fly away home. I'll fly away, fly away, fly away, fly away home. Our dreams last forever, for all that we know. The roads come together, and that's where we'll go.
The Pampas,
an elite.
Wish we go away.
because we are
real and direct.
no interest owns us.
And we have no interest but
The truth. Together we are exposing.
corruption.
Together we will reform criminal justice
Together,
We are fighting violence
against women and children.
We here at
Kandit
will shine the light.
on every corner of darkness.
Together, we are giving a voice
to the voiceless.
and forgotten.
Stay lit.
Together.
Together,
Together.
together, together, we are giving
a voice to the voiceless and forgotten.
We are Kandit News Group.
Buenas Marianas in Micronesia. I'm Troy Torres.
And I'm Johnny Rosario.
Thank you for joining us again today. This is our third time going live here in our studios in Hagåtña, Guam, on the 7th floor of the DNA building, where we are happy to... Oh, that wasn't very objective, huh? Well, we are happy to report to you. It's like...
Christmas.
Yeah, Christmas for
Merry
Kandit.
Christmas.
Merry Christmas. Merry Christmas. Joanne Brown is getting coals this year. She doesn't need the weight, but she doesn't have a choice because she was naughty. According to a performance audit released just now by the Office of the Public Auditor from 2012 through 2018, when she was the general manager of the Seaport Authority of Guam. And the reason that this is a joyful time for Kandit is because here is an example of the wheels of justice turning slowly, but turning indeed and finally coming to some sort of a verification or a vindication of something that we reported on back in April of 2019. And I wish we could play for you the show that we had in April of 2019 where we talked about just this. But we can't because I was cussing a lot in a lot, like I cussed a lot. And so Eric has to go through it and scrub through it and do the bleeping, right? Is it the beep bleeping that we do?
Yep.
And maybe we can bring that to you, if not tonight, and very likely not tonight because we've already gone live 3 times today, but probably tomorrow morning. But we will have a published story about this audit. What we wanted to do was bring this discussion straight to you now. And in April of 2019, we did 2 things. We discussed 10 illegal pay raises that Joanne Brown received as the Seaport General Manager, also her illegal hiring in 2012, and we also wrote a complaint to the public auditor and to the Attorney General about these illegal pay raises. Now, the public auditor has a conclusion that is a little more vanilla than we would like, but what I'm wondering is whether the statute of limitations might have passed on some criminal conduct on the part of Joanne Brown and the former members of the board of directors who were complicit in the illegal pay raises she received and in her illegal hiring, according to this audit by the public auditor. So first, what the public auditor tells us in his audit today, you can find it on his website, opaguam.org, is that the public auditor's office, from a list of 16 autonomous agencies, decided to go after 4 autonomous agencies regarding the issue of illegal pay raises that were made outside the authority of the open government law, which requires that salary increases for employees follow a certain set of rules where the discussions about salary increases must be made in public. And so previously the public auditor said that the salary increases given at Guam Waterworks Authority and Guam Power Authority were illegally done. And what happened after that was general managers, assistant general managers started to have to pay back those salary increases. In this case, Joanne Brown is no longer the incumbent of the Seaport Authority, and hopefully we can get a statement from the Seaport General Manager, Rory Respicio, about this. But now comes this release of a performance audit on the Seaport's former general manager, Joanne Brown. Next comes the release of an audit on the former management of the Guam Housing and Urban Renewal Authority, another matter that we discussed also in Kandit, and for which we filed complaints again with the public auditor and the Attorney General. So just to recap, the reason we're happy is because something has been done about a story that we reported on. It makes me laugh because I think a couple weeks ago when Joanne Brown was getting upset about the Port 7 being vindicated against her, the conspiracy that Joanne Brown was involved in against them, she told Bob Klitsky that what we say here at Kandit doesn't matter, but apparently it does. There's a whole performance audit to prove it. So eat that along with everything else and pay less, Joanne.
No, ma'am.
She's apparently greedy. Okay, so check this out. This is what happened. The open government law, according to the public auditor, says that under no circumstances shall a public agency hold an executive or closed meeting to discuss salaries, salary levels, or salary adjustments of any employee or officer. All such discussions or decisions must be held in a public meeting, and minutes shall be kept and open to the public. It also says, under no circumstances shall a public agency vote on any matter before it during an executive or closed meeting. All voting must be held in a public meeting, and minutes shall be kept and open to the public. The minutes of every meeting of each public agency shall be promptly and fairly recorded, shall be open to public inspection, and shall include but not be limited to a record of all motions, proposals, and resolutions offered, the results of any votes taken, and a record of each individual vote in event of roll call. Each member of a public agency who attends a meeting of a public agency where action is taken in violation of the open government law with knowledge of the fact that the meeting is in violation thereof is guilty of a misdemeanor. My number. Yeah, if you can please call my number. The public auditor also notes that according to Title V Guam Code Annotated Chapter 43, and this is something that we went over in the April 2019 live that we did about this very subject, about the 10 illegal pay raises that Republican senatorial candidate Joanne Brown received. The governing boards of all agencies, instrumentalities, or entities shall issue performance reviews of the chief executive selected for that agency 6 months after appointment of said chief executive, and every 12 months thereafter that the chief executive is retained by the governing board. In this case, the general manager is the chief executive, the governing board is the Seaport Board of Directors. Each performance review shall document the general manager's performance, accomplishments, and the respective board's reasons for retaining the said director. The performance reviews required under this act shall be made public, and the availability of these reviews shall be published by the respective board, issuing the aforementioned reviews by newspaper of general circulation or by radio or television, which is reasonably calculated to provide notice of the facts it announces to the public at large and posted on the agency, instrumentality, or entity's website. When we brought you the story in April 2019, we showed you how none of this was done for most of Joanne Brown's illegal pay raises.
She signed her own raises.
Yeah, she did. Or Joe, or what's his name?
The one below
Dan
her.
Tidinko.
Yeah.
Dan Tidinko signed without there being board action. The board ratified after the fact. There was no board meeting. There was no discussion. When there was discussion, stand by. And I think we are going to get General Manager Rory Respicio.
This is exciting, guys.
Okay, so this is the summary of the audit. Our audit of this is from the public auditor. Our audit of the port's unclassified employees' pay raises and bonuses found that the port board directors generally complied with the open government law. We did not find any bonuses given to unclassified employees in our review of executive and general session minutes, as well as personnel action forms. However, we found that the board of directors discussed and decided on the hiring of their former general manager during their December 2012 executive session. We discussed this. It was a December 5, 2012 executive session where the open government law was not complied with. We're inconsistent in the ratification of the former general manager's pay adjustments, as well as the former deputy general manager's pay adjustments, and did not conduct a formal evaluation of the former general manager's performance in 2018, unlike prior years. We also found that the discussion of the migration to the port's compensation plan's 25th market percentile took place during working sessions that were not open to the public. They say, the public auditor says, in our inspection of the port's executive session minutes from October 1, 2011 through September 30, 2019, we did not find any discussions or decisions relating to salary levels, or salary adjustments of any employee or officer within. Stand by. Hi, buenas, Mr. Respicio. This is Johnny, Troy, and Kandit Land.
Hi, Troy. I'm calling in response to a breaking story that you broke.
Yes, we're explaining to our audience right now that a story that we did back in April of 2019 has now met the confirmation of the public auditor in a performance audit that was just released this afternoon. Can you tell us, can you give us just a reaction first?
First, I want to recognize Kandit, you and Johnny for, as you said, breaking this story in April 2019.
Thank you.
To bringing this matter to the public auditor's attention. And we have been working very closely with the public auditor. And if you see in the audit, we actually have a management's response to his draft audit findings. And so we're certainly not surprised with the public auditor's findings surrounding Joanne Brown's illegal hiring and pay raises. If you notice in that audit, it appears that Joanne Brown will have to pay back all of the money she received illegally. And
good.
Since the audit finds that she was also hired illegally, it may even affect her service credits to the retirement fund and the calculation for annual retirement annuity for all the years she was at the port. I'm sure that Joanne Brown will take her usual stance and blame others that the public auditor has exposed her illegal pay raises. But the question is really if she would be held criminally liable. We're going to certainly discuss this with the board to determine how we can go about getting the money that she legally took from the port and the people of Guam. And so that is what I want to convey publicly. And I wanted to first call Kandit, since you were the ones who brought this to the public auditor's attention. The public auditor also had several findings. And if you see in my response to him, he said that her salary was outside the 25 percentile.
Yes.
But what we explained is that there were 183 Port Authority employees whose salaries at the time in 2018 were outside the migration study. And so what the board did as a policy is they gave everybody 3%, moved them so that they can be brought into the migration study, and then they can develop themselves to the annual increments, provided their annual increments all are within the 20 steps within that range. So
Yes.
The public auditor agreed. The other thing that the public auditor, in our discussion with him and in his audit findings, he expressed great concern that this migration study that was adopted by the board in 2018, it really, there's no discussion of what the fiscal impact would be to port operations. When we had come in January of 2019, going through the mid-year budget review sometime in April or May, we had found that the Port Authority of Guam was spending $2 million that was not budgeted. 1.7 from the migration implementation that was not budgeted, and $300,000 in overtime because the new overtime salaries weren't reflective of the migration. So I written a letter to former Deputy General Manager of Finance to conduct an internal review of how this matter could have been presented to the board without an actual appropriation number behind it. So the public auditor was very pleased to know that we've taken corrective action, and so he also alluded that in the audit finding. But I think the bigger story is a couple things: is illegal pay raises given to Joanne Brown, and secondly is public auditor is very hopeful that going forward with new management that we're not going to be doing things without being thoroughly transparent to the board and to the people. And at that meeting, the public auditor praised Deputy General Manager Louis Baza. BJ Cruz said that he watched the entire Mr. Baza's presentation to the board regarding the Port 7 issue.
Yes.
Told the board how this matter should have never occurred, what the fiscal impact has been, what it would cost not to settle, what it would cost to settle, and how his presentation saved the board and the Port Authority about $1 million. And so the public auditor is saying that the manner in which Mr. Baza made his presentation, he's hoping that could be the norm for all of the departments and agencies.
Senator, thank you so much for all of that information. I'm wondering, and hopefully you know, whether the Attorney General has been made aware of these audit findings and whether anything is going to be done on the criminal side of this.
Well, I won't speak to that, only that given the OPA's past practices in releasing these findings, as you know, when he did it regarding GPA and GWA, public auditor publicly stated that he left the matter with the Attorney General.
Okay.
for their disposition. So I don't think that this would be handled any differently.
Okay. That's good to hear. Do you have it?
Awesome. No.
I think, Troy, I just want to add that, since I've been hired January of 2019, I've met with so much resistance from Joanne Brown. She publicly said that, I have my eyes on Rory Respicio and I'm going to watch him very carefully. And the problem is, up until you called this to the public audit's attention, no one was really willing to watch her.
Yeah.
And the fact that the public auditor released this audit really sheds light to why she resisted so much new management in wanting us to get to the bottom of past management practices, and she doesn't really want to talk about how she left the port in a $103,000 deficit. You see in the citizen-centric report,
yes, that was an eye-opening
citizen.
citizen-centric report that and we're gonna do that story because it's a standalone story about the significant turnaround the port has been through under your management.
So just be prepared for Joanne Brown to point the finger at somebody else and refuse to talk about how she had 9 increments, 7 of which were illegal according to these audit findings.
Yeah. Oh, actually, I thought it was 10 increments.
I think it was 9, and 2 were a result of the migration, and then 7
Oh,
were
okay,
result.
okay.
But
Tomato.
ironically, yeah, and so that was all a result of the performance reviews that were required. But as the public auditor pointed out, all of the salary increments of the general manager and the deputy general managers must get board approval.
Well, we're very much prepared for whatever Joanne Brown may say, but I don't think she will ever want to discuss this openly with Kandit. The last time we tried to talk to her about this in April of 2019, she hung up the phone, and so did Dan Tydinko, the former port board chairman, who also is mentioned in this audit as having done some unseemly things in order to get Joanne Brown some of these pay raises while he was the port board chairman. But something, Senator, that has to be said is that Joanne Brown is now a senatorial candidate, and now that there's this information coming out and verified by now a performance audit, you're right, she has a lot to answer to. This is about accountability.
Well, I'm sure that the audit would have been released whether or not she's a political candidate.
Yes.
I know that the public auditor, he doesn't work that way.
Yes.
And that certainly this audit was in the making. And if you look at the audit, he did a very comprehensive and thorough review, backed up by, he studied the board minutes of all this entire time when he made those determinations. So I'm very encouraged by this audit, only because in all of my positions, Troy, even as a member of the legislature and whatever management positions I've held, I've always welcomed performance audits because it gives us an opportunity to see where we could have done better, what we need to do going forward. And so notwithstanding the illegal increments, I think it's the findings is something that the current management here at the port and future management at the port and the current board and future boards can look to really underscore the fact that open government law is something that you should never tinker with, and that you should always operate under the guise of transparency. Remember the FOIA Council we tried to do?
Yes.
And you were
I was a member.
of that.
Yeah. I was.
So I know that this is really in line also with Milagro Chinora's administration wanting to be transparent. They've ordered that the board meetings be held live, and so the port's complying with that.
Okay, so that I was right about to ask you that. So moving forward, in order to avoid something like this from happening again, your remedy, or the remedy that you have already instituted, is just areas of improvement and transparency. So, for example, holding live port board meetings that are broadcast live, et cetera, et cetera. Any other plans in the works?
Yeah, well, also understanding what the open government law provides and does not provide, and also executive sessions and the parameters and boundaries of those executive sessions. Like for us, when we were hired, our positions our position descriptions, the salaries of our position that the board was going to offer us was never discussed in executive session. In fact, we never even went into executive session the first day we were hired. We were hired in an open session. We were hired by motion that announced our name, the position title, and the salary. And the same when the deputy general manager, now Mr. Louis Baza, was hired, it was all done in an open session. So we already know what the parameters of executive sessions are. We also know that the board members cannot meet to deliberate. I mean, we know all those things. And so that's not new information that would help us, that we would do anything differently, because we already know. But the fact that the public auditor pointed that past management did these things, then it's a good reference point going forward.
So I guess the message is this is simple stuff that any responsible general manager or board member should have known and should have guided themselves accordingly.
And every law-abiding citizen would have to follow.
Yes. Well, thank you so much for your time, Rory. Is there anything else you wanted to add?
No, not at all. Just, I said you first brought this out in April 2019. And so when you called asking me if I had a comment, I wanted to make sure that I give my comments to Kandit, given that you were the ones who brought this to the public auditor's attention.
Thank you. Thank you so much for that, Senator. Thank you.
Thank you, Troy. Thank you, Johnny.
Thank you so much. Have a good day.
Thanks.
So, Port General Manager Rory Respicio, I know, right?
Hey, pay it back, Joanna.
Oh man, so I didn't even see that part of the audit yet. So I guess they're gonna move to have her pay it back.
Yes.
Good job, public auditor. So, what the public auditor said is that he's found that the board of directors discussed and decided on the hiring of Joanne Brown in its December 19, 2012 executive session. We observed that the board of directors discussed and agreed on the matter in its executive session, then announced their decision in their regular session, and excerpted the board of directors' decision went as follows. So he's right. The guy went through great lengths to detail this. This was a very objective report. And again, I mean, I can't stress enough. We brought this information to you in April of 2019.
I remember when we were doing this,
With all the documents, right?
all the documents, but also just wondering why so much pushback, why learning all the things I did about the Port 7, about all the hands, so many weeds. That's where I got that saying, there's so many weeds in the story, you get lost, you know?
Yeah.
And so just learning and then knowing the paperwork doesn't lie.
Yep.
Numbers don't lie. The reason why these executives or these sessions, these board meetings happen is for the public to know. So we can be aware. And thank God for Kandit. I am so happy.
I know, Nay.
Hey.
Merry Christmas, Kandit.
Hey, we aren't the crooks. Huh?
We're not the ones breaking the law for a change in our lives. The public auditor goes on and says, in our review, we identified 3 circumstances when the port initiated a salary adjustment to an unclassified employee. 1, after an annual performance evaluation. 2, as a structural adjustment after a compensation study by an independent firm. And 3, by board of directors' preference, which may include appointment to an acting capacity. From Joanne Brown's hiring in December 2012 until her retirement in January 2019,
January 2019, Cello. So she's still on the hook for official misconduct.
Yeah, and apparently to pay this back. She received 9 pay adjustments in total. Okay, let's count the number of years there. 2013, 2014, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19. In 7 years, Joanne Brown received 9 pay raises. 9 pay raises in 7 years. Wow, how many of you out there have not received a pay raise in 2 years? How about no pay raise in 3 years? How about you don't have a job? How about
those people who Mary Torres, the Port 7, all of them,
they were out without
they
jobs.
were out without jobs
because of Joanne Brown.
They were accused of being crooks.
Yep.
I believe, Troy, that this whole Port 7 and now this with Joanne Brown, it's coming to a head.
Can we just say it? It's karma.
Yeah.
Right? If you believe in karma or the universe.
Yeah.
Or the moon.
Steven.
Or even Steven, correct. Of the 9 pay adjustments provided to Joanne Brown, 7 were given due to formal performance evaluations, while 2 pay adjustments were provided as a result of the port's compensation and classification plan. When Joanne Brown was hired, her starting salary was $114,982. However, in April 2013, she received a pay adjustment to correct her starting salary to $118,467. That's a $4,000 increase in a short period of time. According to the port, this adjustment was due to Joanne Brown's outstanding performance evaluation dated April 15, 2013 from her former employer, which entitled her to an additional 3 sub-step increase. Must be nice. All you classified employees who are waiting for your just 1 sub-step increase, well, maybe you should be Joanne Brown. While the board, well, maybe not, because now there's probably going to be criminal liability here. While the board ratified the October 25, 2016 and September 24, 2018 pay adjustments, Joanne Brown's pay adjustments from April 2013 through February 2018 were not ratified. These are the dates of her personnel actions. On April 23, 2013, she received an adjustment, a pay adjustment effective. Now, this is the other part of the audit that I don't think is covered retroactively, which is against the law, to December 10, 2012. On that same day, she received an adjustment that was retroactive to December 19, 2012. And remember, there is a law that prohibits retroactive pay raises. On October 11, 2013, she received a performance evaluation pay adjustment effective retroactive to December 19, 2012. Jeez. To June 18, 2013. On January 21, 2014, performance evaluation pay adjustment for covering all the way back to December 19, 2012 through December 19, 2013. This is, and it just goes on and on and on, retroactive pay adjustments. There are 9 of them. The board of directors formally conducted and approved the evaluation of Joanne Brown's performance for the periods covering December 2012 through December 2017. While the board followed its performance evaluation policy in conducting and approving her evaluations, only one of the evaluations that were given as a result of her performance was ratified. In their February 27, 2018 general session, the board formally approved Joanne Brown's performance evaluation for the period covering December 2016 through December 2017. This is all ridiculous. All ridiculous. Then there's all the audit also goes into the former deputy general managers of administration and finance and operations and maintenance. It goes over that thing that Rory Respicio was talking about, that pay adjustment plan. And he's right. Those are just not as sexy as the whole Joanne Brown thing. The audit goes into it really lists all this stuff down. It even says who made the motion on the board to do what. It lists the legal authority and the lack of legal authority to do this, that, and the other thing. In conclusion, the public auditor says, our audit of the... my voice is tired, sorry.
Our audit of the PAG unclassified employees' pay raises and bonuses found that the board of directors generally complied with the open government law. We did not find any bonuses given to unclassified employees in our review of executive and general session minutes, as well as personnel action forms. However, we found that the board of directors, 1, discussed and decided on hiring of their former general manager in their December 2012 executive session. 2, were inconsistent in the ratification of the former general manager's pay adjustments, as well as the former deputy general manager's pay adjustments. And 3, did not conduct a formal evaluation of the former general manager's performance in 2018, unlike prior years. We also found that the board of directors discussed their decision to approve the migration of CTP personnel to the PAG compensation plan. The open government law states that the people do not yield their individual rights to public agencies which serve them. As a result, we recommend that the board of directors consistently ratify all pay adjustments for PAG unclassified employees on a going forward basis.
So think about this. For years, Joanne Brown had been saying that 7 people who worked at the Port Authority, plus Mary Torres, plus Shelley Gibson, were the ones who were doing illegal things. There was never any audit that said that. There was never any indictment information filed in court by either the FBI or the Guam Police Department that said that. There was just what Joanne Brown said. And during that entire time that she was saying those things, what an irony that now an audit is saying that she was actually the person who was doing something. Yeah, the crook.
The crook.
She was the crook the entire time. Yeah. And those who were complicit in giving her these illegal pay raises. And now, I think this is just the icing on the cake. She's running for senator. So, of course, her record should be out there, front and center for all of us to criticize, to question, and she's not going to answer. Rory Respicio is right. Be ready for whatever she's going to say because it's just going to be a chock full of lies.
Well, Miss Brown, if you would like, you could come have a seat on Kandit and explain yourself.
I mean, we'll bring a big couch for you. We will. I need to go to confession now.
Yes. No, I'm serious. She wants to talk about it. She is more than welcome to come on our show and discuss these findings. And let's say that she's probably going to come out and say that BJ doesn't know what he's doing.
Jerry Guam says, damn, he, speaking of Joanne Brown, should cut down on the salt. Joanne looks swollen. Hi, Shelley Gibson. That's my cuz. Hi, Ray Gibson, who was called by, let's see, it was Frank Cruz, who says, Hoffa Day Senator Ray Gibson. You can catch my cousin, Senator Ray Gibson, between 6 a.m. and 10 a.m. on 93.3 FM. That is the point. It is the only talk show on radio worth listening to. And of course, there's Bob Klitsky, is worth listening to, of course. And he's on live every morning with my favorite and most beautifulest cousin in the whole wide world, Mana Silva, and the real Joe Cruz. Hi, Lynn Tidinko. James Howard says, husky size of Joanne Brown. Renee Schneider says, Hoffa Day, Guam and Kandit crew. Hoffa Day. Shelley says, right on, Port 7. Judy Shockley said something that was important. I'm trying to look for it. I saw it somewhere here. James Howard says, but isn't Joanne Brown a trusted member of the old guard? Honesty and integrity makes you wonder about all the other career politicians running for public office again. Honestly, honest to God, I know this might piss off some people. I wouldn't vote for any of the has-beens who are running for office again.
Yep.
I don't. Are there any has-beens that are? I don't think I'm going to vote for any has-been who is coming back into politics. Especially since I was willing to give Tony Atta a chance, but then I saw a picture of him putting up his signs with J.I. Cruz, and I thought, you know what, if they're gangs together, there's no way I can support that. No, my conscience cannot bring me to support someone who runs in circles with J.I. Cruz or with Joanne Brown. And this, if you didn't trust Kandit before, and maybe you don't want to trust Kandit now or in the future or whatever, it's really up to you. At least you have this audit to back up what we said back in April of 2019.
Yeah. Now, if you're just not going to pay attention, then you're part of the problem.
Jesse Mendiola says, out of all the governor's cabinet, I think Rory is by far the best. Amen. Dwayne Pareto says, AG gonna say, due to COVID, we're gonna have to wait.
Yeah, something's wrong.
My brother Brian says the AG is junk. Shelly says, the Attorney General is married into my family.
Yes, I do.
And like, I know, I'm like really not looking forward to seeing my auntie, because I know she's going to say something to me.
Is it the same family, the one that makes the good stuff?
They make, yes.
Oh, man.
They make the really good pastries. So,
yeah.
So I know I'm gonna see Auntie Joyce like at somewhere like Cost You Less or something like that, and she knows how to do the guilt thing. So
You're just gonna take it, Cello.
Yeah,
the
yeah,
same
yeah.
way when
Yeah.
if we see my mom, you're just gonna take
oh
it,
yes,
right?
yes, yes,
right?
yeah. I'm just
Yeah.
gonna take it.
Yeah.
I'm just and whatever she wants to say to me, she can say to me. But she's not gonna. I know she's not gonna ask me to stop.
Or
Oh,
your
yeah.
kunyao. You might meet up with your kunyao too.
With my kunyao.
Yeah.
Ooh.
See Flores. What's her name?
Flores?
JMH.
I don't know who you're
The
talking about.
son.
Okay. I know. I saw them. They're not gonna say anything. They're cool. They're cool. James Howard says we are watching Barracuda 1. That's right, James. Dwayne Pareto says, right like the junk outside my house, talking about the Attorney General. Jesse Mendiola says, oh yes, totally forgot about Reverend Tax's all-star director, Daphne Shimizu. The thing I love about Daphne is that she actually updates the public and keeps us in the loop. Arthur Dela Cruz says, great job, Kandit. No, great job to you guys for keeping us relevant.
Yes.
and for keeping us going. James Howard says, let's give her a call on line 2, do a 3-way, see what happens. That sounded all wrong. We addressed 3 ways. Never mind. Shelley Gibson says, read the minutes, James. That she's talking about the minutes of these meetings that the public auditor refers to. James Howard says, that's why the big speech on Tall Tale, she knew already it would come to this. Wow. Yeah. Pam Duvall says, Guardians of Guam, Kandit team. Merry Christmas, Kandit. Merry Christmas. Vita Roberto says, but Troy, isn't it Joey Brown who said Kandit News is not really a real news organization?
She did.
He did. Judy Shockley says, of course it was retroactive, which is illegal. James says, step 1, get paid. Step 2, get some more. Step 3, why not, Umbi? Claire Castro says, wow, close your eyes and just sign here. Never mind the contents. Julie, Kenga, and John Farnham say, what a carabao. Marge CJ says, there goes her chances running for sin actor. James Howard says, put her picture up. Shame, shame, shame. Denise Legaspi says, hi to all of us. Claire Castro says, no shame. Frank Cruz says, WTF. Hi, Lena. Judy says, this increase also kicked up her annual and sick leave payout. Yeah. Yeah, and Rory talked about the pension, right? My goodness.
Pay it all back.
Maybe she can hire Mike Phillips to
Represent her?
represent her.
Well, he doesn't have a great batting record, so she might want to think that through. Maybe she can hire Vanessa Williams. But James Howard says, I wonder if she's watching the breaking news now or someone is telling her on speakerphone. Awkward. Susan Redeb says, I really cannot unsee Abby Lee Miller. Who's Abby Lee Miller?
The lady, the one that does Dance Mom, she looks like Joanne. I showed you that. The lady, the one that looks like her, the Dance Mom.
Yeah. Claire Castro says the party should ask her to step out. Pam Duvall says, all this corruption is sickening while our beautiful island and her people are suffering and our hospitals are in pathetic condition. Our schools are in pathetic condition. Our roads are ruining our cars. Our roads are ruining our cars.
They are.
I have a Jeep and it's ruining my Jeep. The alignment is all screwed up. Why are the roads like... why do our roads have grooves? Like these wave...
They didn't do a good job packing it to get the roads.
So that's not like these little earthquakes
No.
doing that?
No.
It could be water too.
Yeah, they
Getting
didn't.
underneath.
But I thought they're supposed to build the roads to sort of withstand... I thought they make the... What do you call it? The
69?
How are they going to get contracts
69?
if they do it right the first time?
James Howard says, dude, I would pay to watch that. Let's make a promotion. Watch what? Oh, Joanne Brown here?
And the 3-way.
Melvin Sausage says, honest crook. Definitely not. Frank Cruz says, Daddy is breaking the news to her. Patricia Dueña says, Toya, right, all of that has bends, should not run again. They had their term. That's why our island is like this. Dennis May says, sunlight. Great job, Kandit. Thank you, Dennis. Rudy Magallanes says, Troy, what about this morning? What happened to Matt Murphy? Did you hear about that with Cousin Ray? Yeah, that's
What happened?
The Matt Murphy's the one that,
He escaped quarantine.
yeah, he like
Yeah.
escaped quarantine,
And what?
and the police went to his door. Yeah, they're not looking. The police are not looking for the woman who stabbed the ex-boyfriend,
And the police aren't looking for that girl that stole money from my bank account.
but they sure are knocking down the doors of like law-abiding citizens who just don't want to be kept in quarantine prison.
Oh, he ran away. He wasn't tested?
I don't know. But
No, he
good
was
for
supposed to
him.
get tested or something like that, and he was supposed to go back.
I think he
and
wanted to get
returned.
tested or something. I don't know.
Oh, and he went on the Ray show instead.
Yeah.
Yeah. James Howard calls him the fugitive. Melvin Santos says, prima, bula love.
Love you, Prim.
Love you, Pram.
If you want to see the audit, we will have it soon on our website and on our Facebook profile. You can also go to opaguam.org. It's the very first audit that appears right there. And check it out for yourselves. Validation,
Guys, this is
vindication.
real.
Yeah.
Kandit is, we promised you we will give you the truth. We promised you that if we didn't know, you were going to help us through the navigation. And we also want to thank everybody out there who has had, who was strong enough to help us or
Yes.
give us the information that we needed so we can dig further. I couldn't be clean without all of you. I'm sober. We have a whole future ahead of us, and thank you very much. And thank you, Joanne Brown.
Yeah, I won't
Yeah.
be paying anyone back, but Joanne Brown sure will. And and don't forget, guys, there's another thing that we wrote to the public auditor and the attorney general about, and maybe there's a future with that. And that was the complaint against Janela Carrera's illegal vacations.
Ooh.
Now, I have no inside information. I don't know what's going on. Hopefully, the public auditor surprises us one of these days and releases something about that. But, that was another instance where we provided the evidence to the public auditor's office. Now, the public auditor, of course, did a lot more research than we did.
Yes.
Like he really went into all of this stuff, and there's way more stuff here than we ever provided. I think we just alerted him to what was going on, right? And hopefully in the Janela case, we alerted him to what's going on, and hopefully there will be something that comes out of
Yeah,
that
we
as
need
well.
there's a lot of laws that need to be changed. And this is just the beginning, guys. So,
Oh, we have a
breaking story.
release from the Port Authority. Port Authority General Manager Rory Respicio issued the following statement on today's release by the public auditor of his performance audit into illegal pay raises of Joanne Brown. Quote, I'm not surprised with the public auditor's findings surrounding Joanne Brown's illegal hiring and pay raises. It would appear that Joanne Brown will have to pay back all of the money she received illegally. Additionally, since this audit finds that she was also hired illegally, it may even affect her service credits to the retirement fund and the calculation for her annual retirement annuity for all the years she was at the port. I am sure Joanne Brown will take her usual stance and blame others now that the public auditor has exposed her illegal pay raises, but the real question is whether she will be held criminally liable. We most certainly will be discussing this matter further with the board to determine how we can go about getting back the money she illegally took from the port and the people of Guam. Unquote, Rory J. Respicio, General Manager. Thank you so much, Marketing Manager Bernadette S. Meno, for providing that statement from Mr. Respicio to the media and to Kandit News. For Kandit News, I'm Troy Torres.
And I'm Johnny Rosario.
We love you guys.
Viva Guam!
Biba Barragada.
Take a left to the go.